Hey everybody, welcome back to A Drink with Monty. And this podcast, we kind of did an impromptu last minute podcast. We had some guys over at the house moving things and they were all firemen. So we asked if they wanted to sit down with us and do a podcast, and they were game, and we ended up getting some really good conversation out of it. This is a little bit different than podcasts we've done in the past. These guys are a little newer to the fire service, so we got a little bit of a rookie perspective. We ended up talking for hours, and I kind of had to shorten the podcast a bit to make it a little more conducive to this platform. So it may cut off a little bit at the end, but it's a good one for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey, fellas. Hey, fellas. Hey, fellas. Hey.
I feel like I'm on Joe Rogan.
Cheers.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
So, tell us who you are. Tell me who you are and why you're here today.
My name is Kiefer Hall, and I'm here to do a podcast.
Fuck yeah.
I'm James Wright. I'm here because I'm helping Kiefer move stuff.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but you're right.
And my name's Mason Williamson. I'm also here to do podcasts.
There we go.
Perfect.
So, everybody here works at the fire department with me, and this is kind of an impromptu thing. We're all drinking some beers. They've been drinking beers for a while and coffee. And we just decided to do a little podcast action. So, how long have y'all been with the fire service? Doesn't have to be in any order. Like, we don't have to do this. Y'all can.
Perfect. I've been in with Cherokee Fire for 3 years.
What's your rank?
FAO,
Okay.
firefighter EMT.
Okay.
I just hit my 1 year mark
Man.
last shift.
Wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And I've been with the fire department since 2014, so I'm going on 7 years, and I'm an FAO paramedic.
Man.
I know.
I don't know you've been there that long.
Time flies.
7 years. What did y'all do before this? You got out of high school.
High school.
Did you do anything, James?
I was working at Lowe's and going to college part-time, but I dropped out.
Fuck yeah.
Joined the fire department.
Ironic.
College is for the losers.
Yeah, so I joined the Marine Reserves, finished my training, worked at Lowe's for like a month or two, and then I got hired on with the fire department.
Man, a life of service.
Well, Lowe's was hard.
So why, what brought you to the fire service?
For me,
Really tough question.
for me, it was the brotherhood, the community, as well as the ability to like serve the community and help people, and the exciting job was also, a big part of it as well.
Mine was kind of just a whim.
Get closer.
Kind of just a whim.
A whim?
Yeah. My dad's friend told me to apply. I was thinking about real estate. Haven't really pursued that yet, but applied, got in. Just kind of been going at it ever since. Just kind of lucky, I guess.
Cool. Mine was, I guess, my sister got in a car wreck in Cherokee, and a few guys from Cherokee cut her out of the car and transported her. And after that, we would drop stuff off at Station 23, and I got to see the fire department, and I liked it. Hated college, so decided to apply.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
You're a
The hero.
Firefighter.
freaking badass. What, now that you guys have been in a year, 3 years, 7 years,
Almost, yeah.
whatever, what are some of the things that keep you there? I mean, if you were to sell the fire department to somebody else, one of your buddies came to you and was like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm lost. I have no direction. What would you say to sell them the fire service?
Or would you sell them the fire service?
Or would you?
Shoot.
That's tough.
I would, personally.
Yeah.
Because I guess before the fire department, I was just a goober.
Still are.
Yeah, a little bit of one, but
That ain't changed.
I had no direction. Like, I didn't have college, so if you don't have college, if you don't know what you're going to do, they give you a whole bunch of training on things that you really haven't ever touched before. They don't teach anything that we do in public school. No medical stuff, really. Definitely not firefighting in public school. So I don't know, like, you get a whole lot of certificates. The schedule's great. you get to be around a whole bunch of cool dudes all the time. I don't know. It's kind of like an escape every third day, but you get paid for it, so that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I have sold it to, like, 3 or 4. I got 3 or 4 Marines I deployed with who are applying for this next class. So I've definitely talked to them about it. And it's the brothership and fellowship that we kind of experience in the Marines. It's a little different, but you still have that brotherhood. And I mean, for me and these 2 other firefighters, Marines, it's Station 9 in the community. It's us running calls together. And we work a day together, hanging out, running calls, doing whatever. It's exciting. And the next 2 days off, you can hang out, be bros together, go fishing, whatever. It's. I feel like it's not even a job. It's like the perfect lifestyle. It's the community, brotherhood, and hanging out.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about you, Mason?
Yeah, I think direction's probably a good word for it. I didn't really know what I was going to do before, but it kind of gives you a purpose more than just kind of hanging out. You actually feel like you're doing something, which is some jobs that I had before, landscaping or washing dishes, whatever it was. You don't really feel like you're doing much, but as a firefighter, you feel like you're doing something more than just working a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I agree 100%.
And you get paid to work out. That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I mean, everything y'all are saying is spot on. I know, like, you said direction, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I failed out of college and came home and was like, I fished a lot and drank a lot of beer. And a buddy I worked with at a lacrosse store was like, I'm going to be a firefighter. And I was like, shit, me too. I'm going to do that too. And he actually is a diesel mechanic now. And I obviously pursued it. But, you said when, Mason, right? You just kind of happened. The second I got into it, it just snowballed, right? Like, back when I got hired, everybody wanted EMTs. You had to be an EMT. And no one was hiring unless you're an EMT. So I went to EMT school in 2008, 9.
I had to be 10.
And,
It took a year to fail out of college.
Yeah. It just flew by. And the next thing I knew, I was with the fire department, So, to touch on what everybody said, the brotherhood, man, like, you don't go to work. You go to work and you party with your buddies for 24 hours, When y'all get married, your wives are going to resent you for going to work.
Yeah.
It's your escape.
You just go jack around for 24 hours, You get a good crew, which the 3 of y'all are in a crew together, man. That I would love to come be on that crew. That's a good freaking time.
Absolutely. Come on.
And I mean, wouldn't y'all agree that it's the crew you're with, right? Like, if
100%.
Yeah.
No, definitely. You get the crews occasionally that are not fun, so you don't really enjoy. But when you do get the crew, like that we've got now, where you hang out, and it really feels like hanging out with some guys you'd hang out with outside of work. It's not work anymore now. I'm being paid to sit in a building for 24 hours and goof off, work out, play video games, do whatever, just goof off as friends.
Yeah, it's great. What you don't have a huge view of the fire service yet, and I'm not saying that like I do, but none of us do, right? What is the direction you see the fire service going? We all know that we all love the job and we would definitely recommend it to people, but what direction do you guys see the fire service going? I see political.
Yeah.
And that's not going to deter my love for the job, but I just see that we're kind of getting more corporate, and that's not any specific department. That's the fire service in general. That's me.
I don't know. I might have a weird perspective on it, but
I like weird.
I think it's just going to be super, rural-y, I guess. Because all the guys that we talk to, or all the older guys we work with, they say, yeah, we could ride on the back of the engine like a trash man, Nowadays, there's a lot of red tape on everything, and I think that's just going to keep progressing into more red tape. So I guess, I don't know. And I think it's just going to be more medical than anything.
It's been that way, man.
Yeah. I've been in 3 years and not fought real fire. Nothing.
You want me to delete that?
No, you can say it loud and clear. But a lot of other people I've talked to, unless you work for the cab or something like that, I talked to a bunch of guys when I was in San Diego, and they were like, yeah, we fight maybe 5 a year. and that's Station 4 in downtown. Like, that's the heart of San Diego, and they fight not a lot of fire. So I think it's everywhere.
I've said it 1,000 times, and a lot of the guys that have been here 20 years hate it, but we are an EMS service that has the privilege of fighting fire.
Spot on.
And if you, when I sit on the interview board 2 years ago, I had my question, but then I would always sneak in, like, how do you feel about transporting? And, you get the guys that are like, oh, that's, I'm joining a fire department to be a firefighter. And it's like, well, you're going to last all of a year here.
Alex Weaver.
Yeah, he's back.
He is back, I know.
Yeah.
He's back. He's at 13, isn't he?
Yeah.
Living that sweet Sutali life.
Yeah, doing some time at 9.
Is he coming to 9?
Yeah, he's been there for a
doing
while.
10 shifts on the squad. I get to see him every morning.
He's a good dude.
He is great.
Dude.
He texted me a bunch before he came back. I was like, man, are people gonna hate me? Do you think I should do it? And I was like, bro, no one's gonna hate you. Like, you left fine. Like, you didn't leave on bad terms.
No, I'm happy he's back.
Yeah,
For sure. He's a good one.
He's an asset.
Oh,
He
yeah.
brings a lot of experience. So, in the fire service, there are so many different directions you can go. Right? You can go EMS, fire, education, prevention. With us, we have a lot of volunteer teams that I can tell y'all now within the next 5 to 10 years, they will be stationed, right? We'll have a search and rescue station. We'll have a dive station, which we do, right? The TLAR station. What are some of the things that interest you guys and why?
So, kind of referencing back what kind of growth and where we're headed as a county. I think it's really interesting because in some ways it does seem like some of the camaraderie is becoming a little bit more corporate, and that kind of takes some of that stuff away. But I do feel like the growth that we are seeing is really positive. I mean,
Absolutely.
I feel like technical rescue is going to become a big part of our department soon.
It's going to have to.
It has to. Yeah, and as we become bigger, more specialized stations are going to start coming out. A lot of the things that people want to specialize in are going to become more focused. I mean, we're talking about the law enforcement SWAT team, paramedic group coming in. We're talking about technical rescue. I feel like we're really moving in a route where these specialties can become more focused. And I'm really excited personally for the technical rescue. So I was assigned to a technical rescue station for a little while.
Easy killer.
I'm so sorry. I was assigned to a technical rescue station for a little while, and I kind of enjoyed that whole side of the department, and wound up getting into the intro to tech rescue, and the process that side or that discipline of the fire department goes into fascinates me. And I think that's going to become a much bigger part of our department.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Mason? EMS, straight up.
EMS. Yeah. Well, I could definitely get excited about technical rescue stuff and anything firefighter related, pretty much. But the EMS kind of surprised me. I didn't think that I was going to enjoy the medical side of it at all, just because we went through fire school first, got to do all the fun stuff. Thinking about sitting in a classroom for 4 months didn't sound fun, and it really kind of wasn't. But once getting into the field, I think that I like the medical stuff almost as much as doing the firefighting stuff. So didn't apply for paramedic school this year, but pretty much because I didn't think I was ready for it. I kind of want to master being an EMT, getting used to all the daily operations that you should do before
Yeah, dude,
jumping to the next level of being a paramedic. But
I totally support
I
that.
could definitely see a fun future in it. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but
It sucks you in.
it does. It's kind of
You
kind of
get
fun.
that patch and you just
Yeah.
go.
Right? Yeah.
Become a Jake on the box.
Heck
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it.
I mean, you join to help people, and this is a way to do it better.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to wipe asses.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
That's my favorite
That's so
part.
right.
I'm just kidding, dude. When I became a medic, I stopped wiping asses.
Oh, yeah.
I stand back and watch.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You get to be the guy in the back who's like a mechanic figuring out what's wrong and putting pieces back
Yeah.
together and like using problem-solving skills to do things that EMTs just aren't allowed to do.
So I was at Station 12. I guess I signed up for the fire department really to cut people out of cars. Because my sister was cut out of a car. I saw
Yeah.
her car tore up, and I was like, that's awesome. You turned a car into a convertible on the side of a road. That's legit. Also, I've never done that. I've never cut anyone out of the car. But I guess what is the percentage? We run 90% medical calls or something?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
85, 90.
super high number of medical calls. So I think, for me, especially, I like leaving the station. I don't hate station time. I like the guys I'm with, but also I like going to work feeling like I have a purpose rather than throwing frisbee and goofing off and doing my daily chores and stuff. I want to do my job and what I'm trained to do. So after rookie school, I was expecting to fight a bunch of fire, expecting to cut a whole bunch of people out of cars, and that never came at all. So I kind of just got sucked down the loophole of EMT stuff. Like, I fell in love with giving IVs. I liked doing the most I could in the back of an ambulance as an EMT. And then I signed up for medic school, and I just plan to go the medical route through and through.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll do after medic school, but I want to definitely be in the medical field full time. Like,
It's great,
my
dude.
thing.
You know, I'll catch a lot of shit for saying this, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you said, in no way am I this freaking fire slaying god, but I've been fortunate that I've had a good amount of fire for us, for our department. And don't get me wrong, I would love to be in a building with it rolling over my head.
Yeah.
But, you know, Kiefer, like you said, dude, when you're in the back of that bus and it's just you, I mean, it's on you, right? And again, I speak from our department. If you listen to 90% of the stories that these old timers tell, it's 90% of the time it starts with this one time on Squad 1, this one time on Squad 7, right? All these crazy stories, man. You know, it's so rare that you hear someone, you know, oh man, I was running tailboard in an engine 20 and freaking slayed the beat. I mean, it's they're there, but it's so rare. I know for me, about 95% of my awesome, snot slinging stories, jumping out of an ambulance. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is, man.
But also, like, that, I don't know, that's the most interesting side of it, I think, to me.
It is.
Because it, like, I don't know, someone can present with something that's, I don't know, it could be totally different than, and a fire is just a fire, I guess. Maybe it's not just a fire, but it's,
no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more thinking going into the medical side of stuff, and I think that's what attracts me to it.
I mean, you join to help people.
Yeah.
And then when someone calls with a problem they don't understand and you're able to get there on scene and figure out what's going on and actually help them, like, that's...
Guessing to find out their problem.
Well, you know, that is why you join, and you got to do that.
Yeah.
On the back of a bus or on the back of, tailboard on an engine, doesn't matter. You got the opportunity to do that, help your community. Mm-hmm. I think that means a lot.
Another passion of mine is the mental health stuff, right? Again, it was kind of one of those things that I just fell into. With the Fools, it was always kind of a direction that we wanted to have the Fools go. And Barton approached me. We were actually leaving Chuck's funeral. And we were on our way back from Missouri, and Barton was like, dude, what are you guys doing for mental health with the Fools? And I said, nothing. Would you want to head something up? So Barton has taken that, and he's running with it. But because you guys are newer, right, and I'm sure the three of y'all have seen some pretty terrible stuff, what are some of the coping mechanisms, or how do you deal with that kind of stuff? Or do you at all? Do you just run the call and slam the back doors and drive? You know, I mean, what are...
I don't think I have, like, a specific coping method, but definitely the gym for everything. Like, I don't drink often. Like I said, this is the most beer I've had all year.
Cheers to that.
Before that, I don't drink ever. But, yeah, the gym's my big coping method. I guess there's only, like, maybe 3 calls that I've ever thought about after the call has happened, and I wouldn't say, like, they've got to me or anything, but if they have, I've talked to, like, my fiance about it or just gone to the gym. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel for the people that have PTSD, but I don't think I've ever had it. It's not something I've had to deal with.
Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of...
Yeah.
Since it's beer kind of helps as well. But no, that's not what I rely on. I think that it doesn't really get to me as much because we do go through it as a crew. It's not just you personally. It's not something you have to dwell on yourself. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you did wrong, if something did go sideways or not. But the main thing is that you were just there trying to help, so you do what you can. Sometimes it's not enough. So.
Yeah, you're right, dude. We don't pick the calls, right?
Right.
We just got to go.
Exactly.
So...
Yeah. For me, I think at the beginning of my career, maybe just like we all run those calls, I might have been predisposed to a little bit more in the beginning of my career as opposed to what I've experienced for the rest of my career. And a lot of that was coping with the gym, but mostly talking to the crew and just understanding that, you know, they're going through, and in these bad calls, these things happen, but they're really not your responsibility. You know, this happened, and it just happened. But the least I can do is be there to try and make a difference. And if I can't make a difference, then that's just not in the will. You know,
Right,
I just
right.
can't do that. But
Right.
at the very least, I can be the one, and it's comforting to know that at least I was there to try to do a difference, to make a difference.
Sure.
Can't
Yeah. No.
always
Y'all
do
are.
I like that
Yeah.
mindset.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good.
Randy said one time, if there's a snowball's chance in hell of him having a chance, then our job is to give it to him. And I guess I think that's our only job. If they have even the slightest bit of chance, we just give it to them. So, I don't know, do what you're trained to do, and you're just the helping part of the equation, I guess. Like, you don't have to hold the weight of it. It's not your problem. You're just there to be the chance, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it.
Yeah. You're just. You're like an extra out, right? They've struck out, and now whoever is up top is like, here's one more shot. I'm going to give you this person to try and give you one more strike. You know what I mean?
I've heard of it said as like a math equation too. You're like a variable or something.
Yeah.
When I was in rookie school, someone said you're like the only helping variable to get the answer. I guess if someone's really dying, then you're the variable that can get the answer. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or get them saved.
Sure. I don't know that I necessarily struggled with PTSD per se, but I mean I've had to go to counseling, and I've had the nightmares, and I've had the sweats, and I've come home and just freaking broke down to her. And honestly, subconsciously I'm sure I've thought about it, but that, Kiefer, what you said is like a great. I mean, all three of y'all is a great perspective. You know, that was going to happen regardless. You know, what's done is done. You're just there to give him an extra shot.
Right. Yeah.
So.
No, for me, I mean, as an EMT, it was a little bit easier to deal with it because it wasn't completely my responsibility. You know, I'm an assistant, really. As an EMT, you assist a paramedic, someone who's trained more and knows more. So if something falls poorly, you may have had your hand in it, but at the end of the day, it wasn't your responsibility. As a medic, I feel like there's a whole new level of responsibility that comes with it because you're the one in charge. That's your patient. Their problem becomes, to a degree, your problem.
Yeah.
Exactly, absolutely. And as a medic, things changed for me a little bit. And I do feel like as becoming a medic, I had to relearn knowing that once again, I'm just giving him the best chance that I can. And that's sometimes a little harder to learn for some people, you know, but still, you're the one who's just there to give them the chance that they might be able to. But you can't change anything that happened prior to the moment you got on scene.
I think I struggle with the why. You know, like you run these freaking terrible calls. The ones that you run and you're just like, why? Like what? The kids. You know, we've all, I don't know if we all, but I've run the kids, and you run the call, once that adrenaline dumps over, your ass unpuckers, you just stop and think like, why? Why did this happen?
Yeah.
And then another side of it is why? Why did I have to go to this? And it'll be a different perspective when you guys have kids.
Yeah.
But you almost get angry. There's a period after, at least for me, that I get angry. Like, why did I have to go through? Like, why me? But then I tell myself, you know, I was there for a reason. And I've said it since I became a paramedic and a firefighter. Like, if something bad is going to happen, I want to be there. Mm-hmm. I don't wish bad on anybody. But if it's going to happen, I want to be the one that is there because I know that I'm going to give 110%. And in my head, I'm the best.
Right.
I mean, that's just, I'm not being that guy. But in my head, my freaking vain head, I'm the best.
Right.
It's so weird. It's a roller coaster, dude. It's a roller coaster.
You have to take pride in your skills, your training, and what you know, and the tools that you have. Because when something bad like that does happen, I mean, you got to be there 100%, and you got to think that you're the best. And that's, you know, regardless of the outcome, you gotta walk away knowing that you did everything you could.
Yeah, it's tough when the outcome isn't what you want, though. You know what I mean? It's a
absolutely.
hard pill to swallow.
No, absolutely. You're completely right. But I think for mental health's sake, you just have to learn how to be able to know that you did what you could.
Well, I think all of y'all hit it. The debrief, if you will, right? The department started doing the formal hot wash and debrief, but before all that, Mason, you hit hard on it, man. Like the kitchen table.
Right.
Get back to the cruise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even if you're not going to talk about it with someone, you need to do something. Keeping it bottled up is such a cliche. You hear it all the time, but you need to do something, whether it's going working out, fishing, talking about it, anything. But if you just ignore it, I think that's where
That's
problems
toxic,
really
man.
start. Yeah.
That's going to get you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's where the community and the fire department becomes, so crucial. Because you experience that, but odds are you experience it with your crew. You guys go fishing later on, the next couple days. And that's a good way to kind of de-stress, because there's some people that you all know how y'all felt. You all saw the same thing. You all did the same thing. To get to sit down and relax a little bit together, it kind of makes it feel a little bit more normal.
Yeah,
or okay.
Absolutely, and that's big too, is normalizing it.
Right.
And to kind of pair that with something I've noticed is it's so hard to have enemies in the fire service. Because, obviously you and I don't hate each other. I would consider you a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
But let's say that we weren't cool, right? You did something that pissed me off and I was mad at you. But then that night, we're on shift together, and at night we run this snot-singing call. That's going to bring us together because no matter what, we were together at someone's darkest hour. We experienced the emotions together. We experienced that trauma together. And whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, we have that in common. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's not a lot, but there's good to it too, on a far, far spectrum. We kind of got in a deep hole there, but
yeah, pretty quickly.
I like hearing perspective, man. It's a passion. I like hearing that stuff. So, in the fire service, I know that when I first got hired, I was like, I want to be the freaking chief. I want to be the chief of the fire department, And I'm not against it, right? I would still maybe want to do that one day, but I just don't know that I'm made to be political. You sound cooler, right?
Yeah, real cool.
Yeah, you sound a lot cooler when you put those on.
That's wild.
So where you sit, because you're what, 1 year, 3 years, and
6, 7
unknown
yeah,
years.
Sure.
Yeah. It's 'cause it's a spot.
So 1 year in, Mason, where do you see yourself in 15 years?
15 years. Wow.
You'll be what, 25?
15 years, I don't really have any plans that far out. I like to do a quick 5 year.
Okay, 5
so
year.
I can keep goals in mind, but 5 years, maybe gone through paramedic school already, getting used to that, and then maybe being a sergeant.
Yeah.
But that seems like a reach anyways. I don't know. But I feel like that's something that should be harder to do than in 5 years. I don't know if I can see myself doing it now, so it's hard to visualize
Sure.
myself in 5 years
Sure.
doing it. So,
Would you ever want to be the chief? Would you ever want to run the show?
That's kind of the other reason I didn't apply for paramedic school is because I don't know if I want the kind of responsibility for the call to be all on you. And if you're the chief, the entire county is kind of on you. And I don't think that I could see myself doing that now, so I don't know if I could see myself doing that later. Because I don't know how much I'm going to change.
A lot.
Or mature. Hopefully a
job's
lot.
gonna change
Hopefully a
every
lot,
time.
yeah. But as of right now, no, I can't see that.
Okay.
Cool. I think I'm coming for the med composition within the next
Oh, yeah?
10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then little competition. Okay.
I don't know. I really like the medical side. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 15 years is what you said, right?
I say 5. That was a bad number.
Yeah.
5 years is more realistic. Good
5
comments.
years, I'll still... I've grown up in Georgia. I don't really want to live in Georgia my whole life. There's a whole world out there to see. But I think I definitely want to chase the medical side of things. Like I said, there's the 2-year bridge to nurse. And I don't want to say I'm
Fucking nerd, dude.
ever going to leave the fire department. Because I don't... I can't affirm that now. But it's... I don't know. I want to be as best as I can in the medical side. And even as a nurse, like, you can't intubate and stuff. You can do more as a paramedic than you can a nurse, so I might just stick with
When you become a paramedic, you can remind nurses of that.
Yeah, heard that. Also, before the fire department, I really wanted to do the helicopter stuff, so life flight.
Oh, yeah. Because your sister was life flighter, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. And actually, that's my first exposure to, because I sat at the hospital for days, and I would hang out with the life flight dudes. And, like, that was my first password, was helicopter, because that's what I was going to do.
To Zenga? Password to Zenga?
Password.
Did you say that was my first password?
Yeah, that was my first password.
Oh, man. You know what Zenga is?
I have no clue what Zanga is.
Oh, my God.
No clue.
Do you know what Zenga is?
No.
Damn.
We were on the outskirts of Zynga. We're like the last generation of Zynga.
Wow. All right. Well.
But yeah, definitely chasing the medical side, being as best as I can in that. I don't know. I'm not perfect. No, I'm just an EMT still, you know. I can't do a whole lot, but I want to be able to master the stuff of paramedic.
Bro, you'll never master it.
Well, I'm going to try. Like,
I see what you're saying.
I want to be as good as
But never set yourself up for failure with trying to master it, because this shit is ever changing, right? Like, take ACLS and CPR.
Yeah.
It's CPR, but they find a way to freaking change it every year.
Yeah. Like Randy was saying a few classes ago, I guess, when he started, they didn't have 12 leads on ambulances.
Right.
He was like, that's never going to happen.
I understand your mindset,
there.
and that's a great mindset, because you're always going to learn. You're always going to be hungry for it. You're always going to be chasing that mastery.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good, man.
That's my goal, I guess.
If you get a medgun spot, I'm going to cut your Achilles tendon.
Do what?
I'll do it for him.
Perfect. Oh, Medcon spot.
Yeah. Well,
Cut
you know,
off.
I have to. I'm sorry.
Are you going to get it? You going to go for it?
No. No way. No way,
I'm,
Jose.
I'm going for it.
That's a lot of responsibility.
That's what I want.
And
You're like a legal drug dealer.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So in my 15 years, what I learned in the Marine Corps, as an infantry Marine, what I learned through my time was that where I was best suited was on the field, specifically mentoring my Marines. So I was in shape, I was fast, I was strong, I was a good shot, but you know what? There was always somebody faster, stronger, and a better shot than me. But what I could do really well was I could take those that were better than me and mentor them to know what I know. And what I know is only from time. It's nothing special, but I always felt super accomplished through mentoring people better than me to know the things that I know, so they can take their skills that are better than me to do even better than I did.
Yeah.
And part of me, seeing Marines grow to be better Marines than me, made me a sense of fulfillment, really. I mean, made me proud. So in the fire department, I can foresee me in 15 years maybe getting, if I'm lucky, like looking towards captain, lieutenant. And
Going into training.
Well, training could be good, but as long as I have a chance to put my hands on good firefighters that are, that would succeed past me even if I didn't have my hands in it. But to have the opportunity to put my hands on them and to give them what I have learned, and to give them a chance to know some of the things that I do know, so they can take their skills that are better than me and become even better firefighters, would give me a sense of fulfillment that would make this career something that I have a lot of pride in. I just want to be in a position where I can, and I mean, I feel like Mason and James, the two firefighters here, are a small part of that. They're firefighters that, I feel like are both better than me physically, capably, and more intelligent. But I've been here longer, and this gives me a chance to hopefully pass on some of the knowledge I have to both of them, so that when the time comes to where they're at, where I'm at now, they'll be far better than I ever was. And that's kind of what I'm looking at in 15 years, is to be a good mentor towards the guys below me.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's phenomenal.
Star student answer.
Yeah, that was
Well,
that was really good.
Well,
I was not expecting that from you.
Well, I learned that thankfully the Marine Corps has given me a lot of experience in leadership, and I learned, you can't accomplish anything without the lowest guy doing anything, Like, as a leader, you're not doing anything. You're depending on the guys below you. And when you got guys below you that are good and can do exactly what you want them to do, and if they're smart and if they're strong and capable, then you look like the most successful leader ever.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
all it matters is that you taught the guys below you to do the right thing.
Did I help with any of y'all's recruit classes?
You did, yes.
Yours? Did you help with yours?
Mine, yeah.
I think you were in mine a little bit, yeah.
I didn't have the training.
Not yet. You were. How long you been here?
Going on 11 years.
So I remember in EMT school, you were a paramedic for one of my third rides.
Was that cool?
Hell yeah, bro.
Okay, all right.
Actually, you might have taught us OB or something like that.
It was you, me, James,
Opie.
or you, me, and Gunner, third riding, or all riding on a squad together.
Who?
Gunner, Jake Gunner.
Yeah, no, I know that. Who? Him? James?
No, I'm sorry. I meant to say Jake, not James.
Oh.
That's totally my fault. But we all rode together.
So, to piggyback off what you said, man, I love to teach.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't give a better answer than you gave. Because that was, like, out of a freaking textbook. I'll give you your star later.
Thank you, I appreciate
But,
it.
I agree, dude. I love teaching. I love seeing people be better than they were yesterday. And hopefully, I taught you a little something, whether like you learned like what you didn't want to do or be. But I miss that a lot. A lot. With COVID, they're not letting us go there. It's got to be the same people because of exposure. But I'm trying to remember the third ride you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it was at least 6 years ago. This was 2014.
But yeah, I think
Gross.
my first impression of you was just fear, because
Of course.
it was like the first week, and we were all just kind of standing in a line, and someone didn't shake your hand or introduce themselves. I think it was maybe Tate Deal,
Oh, God.
and
I heard about
and
this.
so
Mysterious.
he got pulled aside and talked to, just for not shaking someone's hand. So that instilled quite a bit of fear. So, but then on after that, I think we got to know you a little more. It's kind of more of encouraging, kind of like a big brother figure almost. It's more comforting than fear.
Good cover.
Yeah.
Way to recover.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
I appreciate it.
Way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, to validate what you're feeling and thinking as a backup medcon, you're able to mentor paramedics through your extensive experience as a medic.
Extensive.
Extensive.
Yeah.
You're able to still mentor and provide that fantastic encouragement and experience that you've had to other paramedics on calls. And so I don't feel like you should feel any...
Well, it's different, dude. Like,
Yeah.
when I go to mentor people, it's because they messed up.
Sure.
And they're already on the defensive. And I shouldn't say that. They just need remediation. I hate
Yeah.
that word.
Right.
But they're already defensive. They're already feeling they have something to prove with you guys. And this sounds like really weird, but you guys are so innocent, right? You don't know any better.
Yeah.
I could literally be like, firefighting is, you got to go slam your head in that wall. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, Sergeant, what do you? And you're going to slam your head in the wall, right?
Yeah.
It's there. I see what you're saying, and it's perspective, right?
Mhm.
And you are correct, man. Like, there are times that I get to go run calls with crews and get in there and watch them, and dude, y'all teach me a lot because, dude, I haven't ridden an ambulance in a while. Just because of the way the lineup works. So I go back there with you guys that are so fresh and in school and out of school and new at the EMT school. Like, I learned shit from y'all, and you look at me like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, my phone's ringing. So it's cool, man. I love seeing that. But, you're right. I do get to mentor, but it's a different way.
I mean, it is different, but, I mean, the call I ran last shift that you also were on, on that call, for example, as a medic, I'm trained to know what I should do, but you being on scene gave me the confidence and also the encouragement and also some of the mentorship on what you would do that helped me provide the best possible outcome for our patient. So even though I'm going in thinking I know it all, maybe not, even maybe a little bit uncomfortable with the situation, you still were able to give me what I needed to be able to do the best thing for that patient. So in a way, although I treated the patient, you're the one who told me verbally, non-verbally, through some kind of comfort of your experience, I was able to do what I had to because of what you can do. So don't by any means downplay your position currently, because you are still very much in a position where you can provide all the mentorship and care necessary for the medics who are on the box, stressed and concerned about the call. You being there provides more than I think you can actually realize.
Looking back, I mean, I see what you're saying. Looking back when I was a newer medic and I would call MedCon, like, or if it was a snot singing call and I heard MedCon going around, I was like,
oh yeah,
thank God, you know, like.
As a fairly new medic, MedCon on scene, backup MedCon scene, doesn't matter. That's huge weight off my shoulders, because that's somebody I know I can trust.
Well, I can tell you now that there are times that, like, I gotta straight put on my game face, my poker face, because like, I get on scene and I'm like, shit.
Oh yeah.
This dude is sick and I have no idea what to do. But then you're like, what do I do? I'm like, oh dude, no worries, man. We're gonna do this.
Oh yeah. Maybe so, but you saying whatever you gotta say gives me all the comfort I need to do what I have been trained to do. We've all been trained to do it, but you have that leadership position.
It's a fun one, dude.
Mason, what do you most expect from someone to teach you? What do you want to learn from the guys at your station who are experienced?
Wow. That is a deep question.
Kiefer may be a regular on the Drink with Money podcast.
I would love to.
He's bringing out some heavy questions. You know, probably the rules and regulations, because I myself am not familiar with all the SOPs, and I tend to apparently break a few of them regularly. But I think the first year is probably when you rely on the crew the most, just because you know absolutely nothing. And just getting into a good daily kind of regulation, things you should do, is probably the best. So, you know, when I was at Station 8, it's brand new. It's my first station assignment. Jacob Christian was actually pretty pivotal, believe it or not. Pretty pivotal. Yeah, wow. Yeah. He taught me a lot.
What not to do?
No, things to do, which is apparently, you know, not what most people expect to hear about. But no, he would, you know, just things you don't think about. Like, you should probably be the ones washing and drying the towels. Small stuff like that you wouldn't think about. You should do the dishes. Yeah. Be the last one to fill your plate. Stuff like that you don't think about. Turn the lights off. Right. Just small things. But that kind of go over your head because you're so sucked into fronting the calls, maybe getting a fire, maybe a wreck, is that you're not thinking about the small stuff. It's like station life, which is pretty much what makes or breaks you, is what I find out.
And what's really important about all those small things is, as a new firefighter, you know, you're coming in with zero experience. You have very little to really offer the crew because they are doing the job. They know the job. You doing those small things give the guys who have more experience an opportunity to train you to get you to the point to where they are. Right. So to do those small things gives them the opportunity to train you, you know, and that's important. Absolutely. And that's why it's important for a new join or a rookie to learn.
A what?
New join, that's a Marine Corps term.
I was going to say, is that a Marine Corps term?
Yeah, it's a Marine Corps term. I look at the two synonymous. The leadership that goes between them is very similar. But to do those small things gives the guys who have more experience the opportunity to make you more experienced.
Right.
Yeah. James, same question. What do you look for from your mentor or to be trained by your more experienced crew?
I guess, I don't know. Fire stuff, like being trained in fire stuff, just because we don't do that often. Mm-hmm. But also being trained on calls. That's when I learn the most, is when I'm on scene, like doing patient care, or talking about the calls afterwards. So, I guess, like, going into the field, I knew that I was the small guy. Like, I knew I had to do everything. I knew I had to do the dishes, take out the trash.
Right.
And, like, I went into it knowing all of that, but I knew nothing about fighting fire.
All right. Well,
I mean,
of course.
I still really don't. There's a whole lot I have to learn. But, yeah, I guess just being taught on scene or being taught from what they've learned is what I expect.
Yeah.
Just because I have no experience, and I think everyone learns from experience.
Totally fair.
I can read a book and pass a test, but I won't be able to act on those things. I'll just be able to pass the test.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, you totally expect the guys that you're working with who have the experience to give you that experience. Whether you run the calls or not.
Yeah. I think that's like what sets the fire department, maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but sets the fire department apart from other things is like you do all this training, you read all these books, you take all these tests, but it's super far off from what you actually do.
Absolutely.
Like my fiance, she's an accountant. She learned math, and that's pretty much exactly what she does. Like she adds and subtracts and does numbers and stuff, but she was taught all that in school, and it kind of follows the textbook to a T.
Yeah.
The fire department's a little different. The textbook and the actual job is
I feel
totally
like it's
different.
like
So,
opposite, right?
yeah.
Like how often? I mean, you're, a year driver. So what you read in the book, when everyone's like, you need to know your pressures for this line, this line, this line. Like I can tell you, just a month ago, I was pumping a fire, and I wasn't. I mean, I set the pressure for 1.25 at 123, but then looked at the crew that was using that line and was like, give them the thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
It is nothing like that book says. There are basics and like techniques or whatever that you have to use from the book, but I would say 80% of that book is just to pass a test.
Yeah.
It is so different in the field.
I would say the whole job, really. I mean,
Right.
like Fire 1, Fire 2, EMT, all of that. Like you can, for instance, EMT, I read the book, I passed the test, but once I was an advanced EMT, I didn't know how to do anything. Like practically giving an IV. I learned a ton from Sam, for instance, Sam Lackender. Like he taught me how to give an IV. Him and Goss actually taught me how to give an IV, and I don't know. You're not going to get that experience from reading the book at all, or putting an IV in
a pillow,
a dummy's arm. Like it's not the same. So I guess being taught what other people have actually experienced rather than what people have read in a book. That's what I expect.
That's good. That's good. I think you have to have a good balance, though. And I struggled big time in EMT school. Like, I shouldn't have passed EMT school. The only reason I did is because I was related to the instructor. And, I mean, that's the God's honest truth.
Perfect.
Paramedic school, because I had that hands-on experience. I was an EMT for 2 years before I became a paramedic. Because I could relate it to what I was reading, and I would read a chapter and go do it, and say, okay, this is what the book says, but this is what we're really doing.
Yeah.
Or this is how we really do it, and I could kind of intertwine the two.
Yeah.
And that just reinforced what I was reading.
For me, I think like being an EMT for I guess a year and a half before I signed up for medic school, maybe 2 years, I realized the importance of a paramedic. So now that I'm in school, I'm like, a paramedic's important. It tells everyone else, like that's their patient. It tells everyone else on scene what to do. So the value of a paramedic has been shown to me. So now I know how important it is to study in school and to learn all the things that the book has to say to me. Because that's someone else's life on the line, I guess.